It's showtime, folks. Enjoy the show.
A fine Saturday morning to you, gents.
Day 14 of our quarantine.
So are you shelter-in-place quarantine? Like nobody leaves the house and you've stockpiled food for 3 weeks?
Yeah.
Or is it, we still do occasional errands out to the store?
No, we've been told we're encouraged to get things by delivery if at all possible. If it is possible, it should be delivered. And then it should be left outside in the sun and it's raining.
Yeah.
And then, yeah.
Because I heard like restaurants were relying on like Uber Eats,
Yeah.
but I guess that's an issue now because people don't want to be drivers exposed to stuff. So that's in some parts of the country, that's not an option anymore.
Yeah, I had not heard that.
Wow.
We're Instacarting groceries. We're doing the same thing everybody else is doing. There's no news here. What are you doing? Are you have any
Nothing
news?
to see here.
We're all fine here. How are you?
All fine. We're all good. Exactly.
Yeah. No, it's been good. And weirdly, I have not watched enough movies.
Me too.
It's very strange. It's been very busy.
Yes. We're reinventing school here. So that sort of like eats my day up. So I was like, I'll get to work from home. Like, oh my God. I start off with the list of like, okay, these are my 5 things that I really need to get done today. And by 1 o'clock, I'm like, well, here's 15 new things that are top priority that just push everything else. And yeah, I mean, it's been, I'm optimistic about our broken education system actually being better on the other side of this. Because I think it's going to push us out of the old into the new. But because of that, I'm like, Criterion Channel, there's a whole bunch of stuff I've been wanting to watch, and they've got next month, April, it's like their 1-year anniversary. They've got a whole bunch of fun stuff coming there, and I'm like, I have not been able to watch enough stuff.
Yeah, that's real trouble.
Yeah.
Andy?
I've been trying to watch something a day.
Okay.
So for the most part, I've been pretty good at it. Sometimes I if I start too late, unfortunately, I'll fall asleep like usual. So I just have to roll with that. But otherwise, I've been squeezing in quite a bit more than you guys.
Yeah, well, at least we're still on our Friday night movie night schedule, still watching shows for the movies for the show. So that's something.
Yeah,
I'm fitting something in, and so that's good. That's tough.
Well, last week, I really burned through. I don't know if it was last week. I'm losing all track of time now. But I burned through a whole lot of Buster Keaton shorts. And so that makes you feel like you're watching a lot because those are only 20 minutes each.
Yeah.
And, I just plowed through a ton over a fairly short period of time. So that made my Letterboxd.
I remember that day, actually. I remember that day in history when Andy watched all of Buster Keaton.
It was like from the 14th to the 17th was a big day. Yeah.
St. Patrick's Day.
That's right. Huh? That's right. Hey, we haven't talked about this enough yet, for sure. With all of the, it's hard to launch a new season of a new show in the middle of a national crisis, but we managed to do it. And I don't think we've talked about it here, but we just wrapped up week 2 of season 2 of Marvel Movie Minute, and Kyle and Rob have taken the helm of the show, and they're doing a great job. And so if you were a subscriber last year and you maybe unsubscribed because you were waiting for Pete and Andy to figure things out, we have figured it out now, and it's handed off to 2 really quality guys to do the work. And so they've been doing a great job. So make sure to catch up. You're only 10 episodes in, and so it's easily bingeable during this time.
Whether you love The Incredible Hulk or hate it, it's well worth checking out. There's a lot of interesting stuff in there.
I have yet to see the first one, but I believe that the iTunes reviews of that show should lead with better than the movie, the podcast. That's what I'm gunning for. This
isn't Hulk, Pete.
That's right. It wasn't that bad. I quite enjoy it. But anyhow, all right. So, Marvel Movie Minute Season 2, where finer podcasts are served. The movie industry is down. The theater industry is down. Last week was down 97% revenues. surprising no one because no one was going to movies. And I don't know about you guys, our theaters, the big chains had already closed, but as of Monday of last week, they were deemed inessential businesses and they were closed during the shutdown. So there are no movies anywhere, even the smaller houses. Will they recover?
They'll figure something out. I think they're like Steve and everybody else trying to figure things out in their own industry. And they're just going, okay, so what does this mean? How do we make money back now? Are we going to do $20, releases now, streaming, where people pay $20 to have access to it? Or what? What are we going to do? A lot of people love the idea of the big screen. I know I certainly do. But it's a huge change, and I really don't know how they're going to. It's just going to require a lot of shifts, a lot of new ways of approaching things.
I think what's interesting about it is a behavioral thing more than anything else. I think it's way too soon for anybody to prognosticate about what's going to happen with the industry, but we can start to see how just human behavior shifts and habits shift. And, are you going to be able to peel people out of their living rooms if the studios, continue releasing movies? If these windows have been smashed, these release windows have been smashed in any way, shape, or form. Like I like the theatrical experience for the big movies. I love Atmos for the big movies, but I sure do like watching them in my living room too.
Yeah, I think, to me, a lot of things, in my opinion, this is just accelerating trends. Because there's been these movies, and JJ and I talk about this on Trailer Rewind all the time, these films that will release in, opening weekend, 4 theaters, and they grow to maybe 180 screens, and they're in the theater for like a month or two. And then it's, another 4 weeks in there on Blu-ray or streaming services. And it's like, it's this old habit of we have to put them on screens for some reason. And I know there's the Oscar consideration, all of those things. It's like the phone books. I have to yell at the guy when he comes down there. I'm like, no, I don't want the yellow pages. Why? Who's buying advertising in those things? It's like these old habits, and hopefully this will break this. And some of the smaller films, maybe they'll realize there's a better model for distribution to get it in audiences. It'll be more lucrative for them. And the theaters it'll be the big, tentpole releases or movies that are a big draw. And that's what the market has been shifting towards. And I think there will always be a place for the big movies. You'll always be able to see Fast and Furious 12 at home, but being able to see it in Atmos, IMAX, parabolic screens, whatever they come out with next, there'll always be that group experience. And to me, that's the other part of it, is that group experience. I watched, having to watch, Jimmy Fallon from his front porch. It's like, as funny as those jokes are, when there's no audience there with you as a studio audience, it's grim. And I think that's the same thing with, Andy, when we went and saw The Hunt. I could watch that here at home by myself. There's something about seeing something that's ridiculously gory and violent and really darkly comic in a group of people. You feel better about yourself laughing, knowing everybody else is laughing, rather than feeling like the weird creep watching it in your house, laughing or cackling, alone.
Or
I still felt like I was sitting with a weird creep.
Thanks.
Even worse, though, you see a movie like that alone in your living room, and I worry that you'll miss that it's funny at all and think it's a manifesto.
But the local theater chain here, Harkins, we have some family friends whose sons actually work there, and even though the theater's shut, they're still paying employees for a period of time, doing what they can to, take care of those, employees. But I saw, AMC, they furloughed people, but even like the CEO is, they're like putting pause on their whole business model. It says furloughed corporate employees, this is in Variety, furloughed corporate employees will retain their active employment status, including health benefits. AMC borrowed $304 million from 2 pre-existing credit facilities on March 20th in response to this crisis. So we'll see and this is the thing, everybody's sort of taking a shot in the dark, guessing, well, we'll see if we can get through the next couple weeks, and then we'll go from there.
Interesting.
So, yeah, it's like they're trying to put put a pause on this. I think hoping optimistically that sometime this spring that people will be able to come back into the theaters
and sit 3 seats apart.
Sure. Hey,
they just need to take the seats that they've already put in with the recliners and just make them even wider.
Yes, they're couches, and it's still you just lay down.
Ticket, please.
Yeah,
yes,
yeah. Bring a blankie and a pillow. Going to be great.
It's going to be really interesting to see what the next actual movie weekend is. Like, when is the next time? I mean, I guess a Trolls World Tour may be it, but is there going to be anything in April, May, June, who knows, when all of a sudden you have a weekend there that there are like 3 major releases, whether it's streaming. I mean, at this point, I'm assuming streaming, or are people are all the studios going to hold off on all these big things because they want to make all the money off of the big box office? I'm really curious how long it's going to take for them to figure something out before we actually have an actual movie release weekend again.
No, it's a good question.
Trolls they're going to try and do theater too. I mean, I know it's coming everywhere, but is it?
They are, but I don't know. I mean, what is it? Drive-ins? I think drive-ins are the only place that really there are screens open anymore.
Isn't that a cruel cultural irony? Come on. If those drive-ins could just have held on 2 or 3 more decades.
That's right. So funny.
So that is April 10th. According to Collider, we've got some digital releases. The end of March, Birds of Prey, Doolittle. Hey, guys. Doolittle.
Yeah.
Bagpipes, anybody? Sonic the Hedgehog is coming out VOD on March 30th. Bad Boys for Life, March 31st. April 7th, Birds of Prey, Like a Boss. So Trolls World Tour Underwater is coming April 14th. Which is Jessica Henwick and Mamoudou Athie. Mamoudou Athie is they do a scary ocean movie. So that's fun.
Oh, that's not the one that Kristen Stewart's in. What was that one called?
No, that was in January.
But
that came out in January.
It wasn't Underwater, but it was
Puddles.
Puddles
McCracken.
It was no, Andy, you're right. It was something close to that, though.
It was Underwater.
Was it?
I'm looking. It's called Underwater.
It's called Underwater.
They're doing another underwater movie.
They're rebooting the franchise again. It's just
Good God.
Underwater.
Is it the
Kristen
same
Stewart,
Underwater?
Deep Sea Monsters.
Oh, you're right.
I think it must be the same one.
I know. Let me click on the link.
Oh, yes. Yep.
I think it's just coming out.
Yep, she is.
That's right. Okay.
That's really funny.
You're making me feel like it was a totally different underwater movie. I'm like, wait a minute.
Come on. We had competing asteroid movies. Why not competing underwater?
So I was
movies?
just reading this article, and it was all about Jessica Henwick and Mamoudou Athie and they started going off on the Matrix sequel and Jurassic World 3 because they're in those movies, and I got very excited about that and forgot that Kristen Stewart was in Underwater at all. I'm so glad there aren't 2. You know what? We solved it. It's okay. There aren't 2 underwater movies, everybody. Don't worry about it. We're fine. We're all fine.
So Like a Boss was going to be a theatrical film. Yeah, Like a Boss, Trolls World Tour, and The Photograph.
Yeah.
Those are actual films that are skipping theatrical release. Everything else so far on the list is something that just had a really short theatrical release.
Mm-hmm.
So it'll be interesting to see. So we're getting a few trickling out in April. It'll be interesting to see how, when is James Bond going to hit? Are they going to actually release it in the fall, or is it going to be?
Yeah. They got it.
We all still may be inside in November. Who knows? I'm just saying. We may never be outside
for those brave
again.
souls that will wander out into the plague and say, "It's no time to die. I'm watching this movie."
Oh,
that's right.
Look what you did there.
That's right.
Yes, I did.
I think that's all the news we have to talk about at all.
Is that it?
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking at the list.
Well,
That's it? What? Nobody wants to talk about Iron Man 3 or Thor: The Dark World, which is the worst part.
It didn't get voted up.
Fine. That's fine. No, I agree. This is a democracy.
Yeah. That's it.
Let's move on.
It's the end. Trailers. And the trailer is yours, Steve.
I know. I was surprised. And I I think it was before Andy posted this. I was sort of trending this way anyway because there's nothing showing up in theaters. So for trailers, I'm looking at something that's hitting streaming, or actually I think it's now available maybe on rental or whatever. But I had not heard of this before. Somehow it flew under the radar. March 6th, I guess, is when it hit a digital release or VOD or whatever we're calling that. But really unique movie. I love the look of this. It's called Swallow, starring Haley Bennett, and she is sort of the idealized housewife, or that's the role she's trying to play. And she finds herself increasingly compelled to consume small objects, which is a disease I think called pica, where people eat inedible things. And there's something about the tone of this film that just really grabbed me, because it's clearly set, now, because there's a scene where she's like on her phone playing Candy Crush or something, but it's really she's trying to recreate this like 50s, sort of housewife thing. And I guess it's the idea of someone that's maybe more middle class, marrying into wealth and having to fit into this world. And one of her ways of, coping, I guess, I don't know, she just starts eating things, and it just looked really, I just loved the look and feel of this film. How did you guys? And I guess going back to when I watched Raw, I guess I have a thing for women eating unusual things in movies.
So teenagers,
oh God,
and women who eat weird things. Strange list of films. Strange.
Look, stop talking. Look, I haven't been this triggered by a trailer.
Oh, really?
In a long time. I was at the end of it. I was gripping the skin on my forehead, and my family had to ask me if I was okay. It was a convulsive watch. It was that thing where she starts with the marble, and I think, oh God, is she going to try to chew it? Is she going to break? Because she was chewing ice, and I thought, oh, maybe she's going to break her teeth. That would be bad. Then she swallows it. Then she's going into the toilet for it, and then she brings it out polished again. And then she does the tack. You guys, a tack. I can't talk about it. This was horrible. This was the worst thing you've ever brought to talk about. Hands down, the worst thing. It was terrible.
Wow. Oh, okay.
I almost picked this trailer probably a month ago or so.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
I thought it looked really interesting, and I think I just ended up, there was a different trailer that I went with. I had forgotten about it. It's probably one that I said, I'll save that for next week, and then promptly forgot about it because I saw something else. I also find it to be really intriguing. I also find it to be horrifying, the things that she ends up starting to swallow. And then like later she putting in like a giant nail sort of. It's just like, it goes down a dark road, but I find it incredibly intriguing and kind of a thriller, like a really disturbing psychological thriller. I find it fascinating and think it would be a really interesting film. So I'm very curious about this one.
Okay.
I am never going to see this movie.
It's first, so writer-director Carlo Mirabella Davis. This is his first feature I've seen. He's got director credit on 3 shorts. Oh, and a co-director credit on a documentary called The Swell Season. So like first feature length film. And then the critics were raving about Haley Bennett's performance in this, and the name didn't ring a bell with me, but then I look and she's been in a lot of things that I've seen. So I just don't remember. It's been a long time since I've seen The Magnificent Seven or The Equalizer and Hardcore Henry. So looking forward to this. So
interesting.
Yeah. Pete, have JJ over. You guys can sit down and just,
not watch this movie. Great idea. We'll do other things. We will eat a cake. Only cake. Not the forks or the plates. Only the cake. My trailer, speaking of cake, gentlemen, if I may, my trailer is The Platform. The Platform, if you imagine, you've heard me talk about Cube.
Oh,
yes.
Now, I'm quite a fan of Cube. Irrationally exuberant about that movie. So you take Cube, except for it's not a cube. It's stretched out. It's a column of cube. And in the middle of every room is just hollow. And on every level of each room are prisoners, 2 prisoners. Can you imagine it? Are you with me, listener? So 2 prisoners, they wake up and they're in this prison that is a giant never-ending tower, and in the middle is hollow, and you can see the other prisoners above you, and it goes up never-ending, it goes down never-ending, and once a day, a food platform drops down the middle and stops at each cell, and you have 2 minutes to eat as much as you can for the day. And then it keeps going down. It keeps going down. And by the end, what's at the bottom? We'll never know because the trailer doesn't tell us. But that is the concept of the platform. I am deeply intrigued by this movie. As far as I know, they're only eating food. And that is very exciting. That is on point. Clearly for Pete's movies.
But is it food? Is it edible food that they get?
It's cake.
It's just leftovers.
It's like leftovers.
Yeah, it's fine.
It's whatever the people above you didn't eat.
That's right.
Or
as far as I know, there's a little clip that's right the very first one when they start eating. It's beautiful food, and the food just gets worse as it gets picked over and shoveled through, and it is it looks like my kind of thriller, panopticon nightmare. Sure. And so I thought this looked really great. It is this a Spanish film?
Yes.
And the trailer that I originally watched was dubbed poorly, but it turns out Andy found the right one. So the one in the show notes is actually not dubbed, or not dubbed. It's not terrible. What do you guys think? From Galder Gaztulu Urrutia and writer David DeSola, The Platform. What do you think?
I was very perplexed as to how the platform moves up and down, because you see it from the top and there's nothing holding it.
It's magical,
you see it from the
floaty.
bottom,
it's a magical floaty platform.
Yeah, so it removes kind of any sort of scientific element of this sort of prison. It becomes very fantastical. That being said, I love the whole concept. I think it looks incredible. And just like Cube, which I also am a fan of, I think that this looks like it could be a really interesting exploration of the whole idea of prisoners and equality. And as one prisoner points out, if everybody only took what they needed, there would be room for everybody all the way to the bottom. But that's not how it functions, and so it becomes this interesting metaphor of society. And so I'm very intrigued to see how they pull all of it off, and if the messaging comes through strongly, if the Netflix doesn't screw it up when they dub it like they did with the trailer and release it. I'm very curious.
Well, it's on Netflix right now.
Yeah, it opened just a couple days ago.
Yeah.
Was it? Okay, because it showed up in my list of things. It reminded me of, and I don't know if either of you ever saw this short, but one of our favorite directors here on The Next Reel, Denis Villeneuve, directed a short called Next Floor, which is a related concept because you've got a bunch of people sitting around eating food at this table, and waiters keep bringing in food, and the people keep eating and eating until they break through the floor and drop down to the next floor, and then more food comes in and they keep eating, and there's just scraps and garbage of food and everything. They just keep eating as they break through these floors in this tall building. Again, sort of some type of commentary on society and wealth and all that, but it reminded me of that as I saw that huge platform full of food falling down through and getting in worse and worse conditions. So I've
never even heard of that.
Really?
I've heard of it. Now it's all I want to watch. That's my thing. It came out on the 20th, and you should go watch it.
Oh yeah,
yeah,
totally up for that.
Yep,
I'm very curious about that one. Well, for mine, I went with a film that Corey Finley directed, written by a script by Mike Makowski, who wrote it based on his time in high school and events that actually happened there. The film is Bad Education, and it stars Hugh Jackman, Allison Janney, Ray Romano, Geraldine Viswanathan, just a bunch of other people. I really am curious about this one because I think Hugh Jackman looks great in it. It's kind of a dark comedy is kind of the way that the trailer plays, of a principal running a school and trying to deal with, the things that schools deal with, trying to raise the quality of the school's rankings, but at the same time now dealing with an embezzlement scandal that has happened within, trying to figure out who done it, and why. And just seeing Hugh Jackman as kind of the center point of this, whether he's being interviewed by one of the students or talking to his coworker, Allison Janney and Ray Romano. Everything about it looked really interesting. It had pretty good buzz at the Toronto International Film Festival earlier, I guess late last fall. And I'm curious to see what's going to happen with this one. What did you guys think?
I don't know the story. So I was like, it's like one of the biggest, public school scandals. I'm like, I don't remember this, so I don't know when or where this happened. So I'm intrigued by this because I'm always interested to see how you dramatize what happens in a school because they're really boring places, but there's always heightened drama there. But a great cast, and clearly they're stealing the poster concept from Quiz Show because you've just got like sort of the back of Hugh Jackman's head there. But I'm surprised this has flown under the radar for so long because you figure with this cast, you would have heard something about this, but I guess in this environment, it's always a struggle of how to release something like this because although it has big names, this is one I don't see drawing lots of people into the theaters for it because again, I don't know. I'm interested because this is my field, but other than that, I don't know how interesting this is going to be for people that weren't involved with or know much about this scandal.
That was my question.
But that's anything. Like, do you have to know about the scandal for it to be an interesting story?
Oh, no, I think it will be. But as far as drawing people into it until word of mouth gets out, and I think that's why it's like we see the, Hugh Jackman's greatest performance ever. They're trying to really push that because I think the story in itself isn't going to draw people out of their homes to the theaters to see something like this. But I'm all on board for this. I think this looks great.
Yeah, I think both of these are names, worth going to the theater to see. I love Allison Janney, loved her since West Wing. I think she's incredibly funny. And Hugh Jackman, song and dance man. Yeah. I trust him. Whatever he's going to do, I'm going to watch it. So I thought, you bring those two things. It's a good trailer. It's cut together intelligently. It brings up all of the sort of anxiety of dealing with being a leader in a questionable leadership situation. And I think it looks great. I hadn't seen it until minutes ago, and it's now probably apart from my prison food movie. It's the movie I'm looking forward to seeing the most out of our list.
Well, you'll be happy to know it was a New York school district where this happened, the Roslyn School District. I'm looking at an article and I hesitate sending it to you guys. I hesitate having it posted because it's going to give a lot of the story away. Like, I'm like, oh, okay, I didn't get this from the trailer at all, and now I know who done it. So it's a really interesting surprise because the trailer, so I won't send it. But if you are interested, you're certainly welcome to dig around online for it. The information is out there. The film itself, it's actually going straight to HBO. HBO they picked it up and it's going to be playing there April 25th. 2020. So that date likely will be sticking.
All right.
So there you go.
Nice. That's great.
Yeah.
Okay. That's it. That's all three trailers.
Yeah, that is all three trailers. We've done it.
That means we get to re-rank some movies, right?
It does mean we get to re-rank some movies.
Let's do it.
Okay, going to jump into Flickchart, and we are going to re-rank some of the stuff that we have ranked on the show and see if things shift around. First up, we have The Brood or Seabiscuit. Absolutely Seabiscuit.
I would rather mash these up than rank them. I would like to see Seabiscuit trying to run that last lap covered in anger babies. Those rage babies are an underutilized cinema trope. I am also going to go Seabiscuit.
All right. Seabiscuit takes it. The Brood, is that the one that you did watch, Steve?
Yes, I saw that one, but I have not seen...
That's the one that you're like, I'm not watching anything else from this director.
And I haven't seen Seabiscuit still, so... I know.
Or The Bourne Legacy or Die Hard with a Vengeance. Number 3 versus number 4.
Bourne Legacy? Oh, was that the one we did on the film board?
That's
the
Jeremy
Renner?
Yeah.
Jeremy Renner. I think I'm going to be Die Hard
with a Vengeance.
With a Vengeance, the Jeremy Irons, Samuel Jackson one? Yes.
It's got its problems, but so does Born Legacy.
So does Born Legacy. Yes.
It only was a 5-point shift. Die Hard with a Vengeance went from 306 to 301.
All right.
Fistful of Dollars or Ocean's 13. Oh, Fistful of Dollars for me.
Oh, 13? Oh,
yeah. I think Fist for me too.
Yes.
That held steady at 299. Next up, Infernal Affairs or Up in the Air. I will take Up in the Air, please.
Up in the Air. Wow.
Yeah.
That
it's been a long time since I've seen
55.
that. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty high on our chart. Next up, Hot Fuzz from the Cornetto trilogy or Apollo 13. Oh, I love me some Hot Fuzz, but it is Apollo 13. I got to go with Tom Hanks in space.
So again, not if I had one TV in both movies, but if I had two TVs and two movies, where would my eyes go? I think I would be watching Hot Fuzz.
The strangest rules that you come up with. Now, if I close my left eye, does my right eye naturally drift to the left, or does it stay on the right?
You live for these minute moments. You live for them.
I don't even understand it anymore. It's just like, I don't know. How do I argue with that? It's like,
I know. You see what I've done there?
Strange little points.
The
I know.
the levy, the Pete levy.
It's Apollo 13, 100%.
I'm going to go with Andy with Apollo 13 because there's something, the way that is just constructed. It's one of those movies that we in our household like to call a perfect movie because no matter what point you start watching that, you're pulled in for the rest of it. And you can't stop.
Yeah.
Here. Apollo 13 held steady at 178.
Yeah, of course. Okay.
E.T. the Extraterrestrial or For Whom the Bell Tolls from our Ingrid Bergman series. Definitely E.T.
E.T.
Steve has not seen For Whom the Bell Tolls.
I have not.
E.T. remained at spot 7. Way up high. Star Trek Generations or Ocean's 11, the 1960 version.
Oh.
That was garbage. I will watch Star Trek garbage
Generations
over straight up garbage.
Yeah, totally.
Yes.
Oh, God.
Oh, that held steady in spot 430.
Okay.
430 out of 446, just so you know. Those are two low spots battling it out. Oh, here's one we haven't talked about in a long time. Son of the Bride from our Ricardo Darin series or The Girl Who Played with Fire.
Wow. I think I am. Wait, Son of the Bride. Was that was the
That's the one with his mom who's got
that was so good.
Yeah. What does she have? She's like dementia or
I don't know. Pete was making funny hand gestures.
Similar.
Yeah,
like
no, because I forgot that was not the one that was like the vignette movie that we did.
No, that's Wild Tales.
That was Wild Tales.
Son of the Bride, he doesn't really get along with his parents. He runs the
Italian restaurant, right? Doesn't he?
Right.
He runs a restaurant.
His parents own the restaurant. His mom is ill. Yeah, I'll say Son of the Bride.
Yep.
Also. That held steady in spot 154. Next up, we have Dunkirk or more Ricardo Darin, The Secret in Their Eyes. Wow, those are two top-notch movies right there. Those are both straight up 5 stars for me.
Yeah. That's...
I got A Secret in Their Eyes.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
I was just going for Dunkirk.
I've only seen Dunkirk, so... Yeah.
Well, we're going to have to wrestle.
Yeah.
We're shifting rock, paper, scissors to wrestle.
To wrestling.
But because of social distancing, we're doing it on Zoom.
That's right. Did you see the rock, paper, scissors video that somebody did on?
No.
It's really funny. He has a pair of scissors laying in front of him, and he has a rock, and then he has an alcoholic drink, and he does the 1, 2, 3, and then he'll go to the scissors and he'll do the paper. And he's like, and then he takes a drink. And he goes to the rock, 1, 2, 3, scissors. Takes the drink. And he just keeps doing it. It just keeps drinking. It's really funny. Side note, that goes nowhere.
Okay, good. I was wondering if I should hold on for the punchline or if we should just play our rock, paper, scissors.
Yeah. Okay, you ready?
Okay, yes, I am.
All right, here we go.
1,
2, 3. Scissors.
Paper.
Rock.
Dang it.
Oh,
Yes, I won.
Yeah, you won, but
I said paper, but I threw rock, and I just am so blessed. Hashtag blessed.
Oh, wait.
I said paper, but my hand said rock. But it doesn't matter because people can't see what I was doing.
Yeah.
I just outed myself.
Dunkirk held steady in spot 65.
Oh, okay.
The Omega Man or All of Me. I will say All of Me for sure.
This is the last one.
All of Me.
Okay.
This is the last one. So
Sorry, Omega fans.
All of Me held steady in spot 116 on our chart. All right. There it is. There's the ranking for today. We didn't have much movement on the chart.
No.
Very little, in fact. So, all right. I guess that means it's time for the list.
It's time for the list. How'd we do?
What are we talking about?
So over in our Show Talk channel, this week, we're talking about Black Klansman on the show. And in our Show Talk channel, we posted some poll options. The one that got the most votes was undercover cop movies. So unfortunately, Pete, we don't get to talk about Colorado movies. But that's okay.
That is a real
That's
shame.
all right.
That is
My list is long and distinguished, but I guess they'll never know.
I know. Undercover cop movies it is. So,
all right.
Steve, kick us off.
Okay. So was it Andy? Were you the one that said that we got thrown a movie quote challenge by the Nerd Critic guys or something like that?
I did say that, yes.
Okay, so I took that and I'm going to start with like a little quote here. See if you can guess what my movie is. My first one. So this is my going on the list. So number 3, bottom of my list, quote is, "Buddy, I'm going to shoot you in the face right now if you don't put your hands on the dash."
It's
is
right
it a
there.
recent movie?
No, it's from the 90s.
What is it?
That's Reservoir Dogs.
Oh,
it's funny. I'm looking at that on my list.
I'm staring at it.
I don't even remember that line from that movie.
He's telling the story, and it's like the guy gets pulled over, and he's like, "Okay, officer," and he's like reaching for the glove compartment. He's like, "Buddy, I'm gonna shoot you in the face.
Wow,
put your hands on the dash."
That seems like an obscure line to pull from a Tarantino movie.
I don't know. It's one that always stuck with me.
That's funny.
When he's telling the story. So. Yeah,
nice.
But that's my first pick because that is one that the first time I saw it, that just really stuck with me. And it's been a long time since I've seen it, and I think it deserved a place there.
Wow. I'm not doing lines from anything.
Okay.
That was one that I had as a possible option, but
okay.
I don't know if I'd call it a steal because I don't think I was going to include it, but it's a great choice.
I've got one from, let's just see what happens to you guys when I say the year. 1973. Anything?
Al Pacino?
Maybe.
I feel like it starts with a S.
It is an S. It's Serpico. Sidney
It's
Lumet,
Serpico.
Al Pacino, and it's Frank Serpico. It's about Frank Serpico, and I don't know what else you got to say about Frank Serpico. It's a great screenplay. Waldo Salt, Norman Wexler. It is one of those Pete and Dad movies: eating crap, eating white bread, drinking cokes, and watching Serpico. And those were 1973. Of course, I was 1, so we were doing it much later. And that was when I first started thinking, I think I could grow a beard because of Frank Serpico. And I don't know if you noticed this. I kind of wear my beard like Frank Serpico, and it's because of Frank Serpico.
Are you saying that because you want us to start calling you Serpico?
Serpico?
God, is there a chance you would do that?
No, actually, no. No chance.
Maybe if Pete had a new Discord, Pete had a new Discord name, I'd have to call him Serpico.
You're a troll. All right, Andy.
So I am jumping a little even farther back than Pete. I'm jumping to 1949, a film by Anthony Mann that it's a really interesting film that I think some might consider it to be noirish. I know I have it because it's in a noir collection, but it's a really interesting film, a beautiful black and white cinematography shot by John Alton. It's the film Border Incident with Ricardo Montalban, where he and another agent play, there's a Mexican agent and an American agent, and they are actually, they go undercover on the border with Ricardo Montalban going undercover as a migrant worker being smuggled across the border because they're trying to stop the smugglers. It's a really interesting look at the border, and it's interesting also because it's 1949 and it's very topical today. A film that's definitely still worth checking out. It is Border Incident.
I haven't even heard of it. Nope. I'm not even kidding. Ricardo
I didn't
Montalban?
think either of you would have heard of it, but it's definitely one that I just wanted to put on the list because it's one that's worth seeking out and checking out.
Oh, I'm glad you did.
All right.
Yeah.
All right.
Going to Letterboxd and adding it to my list of movies that Andy keeps telling me I need to watch.
All right, Steve. Next up.
Next up. So the thing that intrigues me about undercover cop movies is there's always that balance of personality of I've got to be this person, but I'm pretending to be somebody else, and that duality and where do they maintain their identity? And so for my second pick, I'm going with the Keanu Reeves movie about an undercover cop that is not the one that you expected because he completely loses his identity. He doesn't even know who he is because he's got to wear a fake suit looking like somebody else in a scanner darkly.
That was on my list as an option.
I'm actually calling that call. A steal. That was going to be my next.
Oh, really? I figured you would go with the other Keanu undercover movie.
I can't.
Well, we've talked
because
about it.
Rules.
Yeah. Oh, rules. That's true. All right.
So, Andy, you're not calling that a steal?
I'm not calling it a steal.
All right.
He's denying the steal. All right.
Okay. Well, then I'm just going to have to do another Al Pacino movie, y'all. I'm actually surprised I got to round 2 with this one. It is Mike Newell film, Hitman this time. Al Pacino. Our undercover cop is Johnny Depp. It is Donnie Brasco. Anybody? Nothing?
That's a fantastic movie.
Yeah.
That's an interesting one where I had it and I loved it. And then we got the director's cut. And I'm like, wow, I really vastly prefer the original cut to the director's cut.
That's funny. I don't think I've ever seen the director's cut.
Yeah. It didn't, it lengthened it quite a bit. And I don't feel like it added enough to warrant it.
Noted.
Interesting. Yeah. But it's
I will
great,
never
great
see
film.
it. Outstanding. It is on my list. Don't see this movie.
All right. So my next one.
You got to admit that Johnny Depp, he still had his life together back then.
Yeah.
That's a great movie, though. I love Donnie Brasco. For my next pick, I'm sticking in the past, and I'm looking at a film from 1955, directed by Samuel Fuller. It is House of Bamboo, another noirish type of film that has I believe he's a military police officer who goes undercover to try finding the identity of the person in this particular gang that has been doing all these robberies. It's a really interesting film. It looks beautiful. It's shot in, I don't think it's Technicolor, but it's something similar to that. It was all filmed over in Japan, and the whole film just has this lush look to it. It's just beautiful. It has Robert Ryan and Robert Stack in it as the two leads. A pretty exciting little film, House of Bamboo.
Another solid pick from Andy.
Haven't
seen it. Never heard of it. What are you doing?
I'm shaking things up, going for some
Seriously,
stuff that
son?
people aren't as familiar with.
Next week's list, Andy's going to use all Buster Keaton short films.
Wow. I have to say, with that pick, I am delighted to know that I will be able to get in my number 1 pick because there's no way Steve will pick it.
What? How do you know? All right.
Go.
Probably.
Let's do it. Let's
okay.
see.
Yeah, because you know me. I'm always going to have one on my list that's a thing that, talked about on the show and stuff like that. So this was one that JJ and I talked about on Trailer Rewind last year, and it was one that I had high hopes for when I saw trailers, and then it came and went out of theaters. It just disappeared. I think it was one of those we were hoping to get some Oscar attention, and it didn't. But Nicole Kidman in this film just gave a really amazing performance as an undercover cop that's trying to rectify sort of sins of the past. And it is just... Destroyer is a really powerful film that if you haven't seen, check it out. It's Nicole Kidman like you haven't seen her before. And that's my number 1 undercover cop film.
I'm glad that you're still recommending it because it was one that I'm like, it's been on my list of films that you guys talked about, and I haven't gotten around to it. And I'm like, I don't know. The trailer is one of those ones where I was like, it looks really interesting.
Yeah.
But it never quite completely sold me. But now, maybe that's just enough of the push I needed.
All right.
Here we go. I get free reign to do this pick. This was the first movie I thought of when I discovered that it was Undercover Cops, and I thought this is going to be my chance to do a non-brood Cronenberg. This one is Armand Viggo Mortensen, Naomi Watts, Vince Cassel, and Armin Mueller-Stahl in the 2007 gangster film Eastern Promises. This is a movie that I feel like it is just a different Viggo, and I really liked this Viggo. He is, I think he did great. He's got lots of tattoos, and I just feel like the whole like his whole aesthetic in this movie was something that was super unique, and I loved the big twist and the reveal at the end of the movie was. I found it enormously satisfying. It's one I keep thinking about. So, Eastern Promises, and and
he runs around buck naked.
He does. There's a lot of Viggo's Viggo, if you know what I mean. So
what an interesting way to do a fight scene.
Solid movie.
Yeah, I look forward to tackling that and some other Cronenberg.
Yeah, we should.
If we ever do like a later in life Cronenberg series.
Right.
Very different types of films.
All right.
Well,
Andy.
for my final pick, I am not jumping quite that far back as I did for the first two. But this is a film that I'm just really impressed with the films that Gareth Evans has done with The Raid and The Raid 2. I really enjoy just the style of filmmaking, the way he tells them, the characters, and especially the fighting, because he's doing some amazing stuff in it. The Raid 2, in particular, you have Officer Rama, who goes undercover to expose some of the corrupt police officials that are working with the various crime families, and it takes it outside of the building that you had in the first film. This film is just kind of all over, and you have some amazing stuff like the fight scene that's choreographed on the road, and you just watch that as the camera, the behind the scenes of the camera going like through the car windows, through in one window, out the other window. It's just nuts what they do to kind of put this film together. It's an absolute thrill from beginning to end, something that is definitely worth checking out. My final pick, The Raid 2.
Nice pick. When are we going to do all the raids?
Soon.
Good. I'll hold you to it.
Is that on the calendar?
We're on coronavirus time. We can do one a day right now, Pete.
Yeah,
that's right. Okay, that's it. What a good list.
Yeah,
nice list.
Do you have any good backups?
I had State of Grace. Gary Oldman, Sean Penn. It was from 1990.
God, I haven't even heard of that one.
The thing is, Oldman,
Yeah.
Gary Oldman was great. Sean Penn was miscast. He was too young for that movie. And so he's just not quite believable as the undercover cop. If I had to go there, I was going to drop Infernal Affairs. Because
oh, really?
Amazing.
You were going to go there, huh?
I was going to go there if Steve hadn't already done a thing.
What did I do?
Well, you did your thing. You did Destroyer. That was the internal.
So you allowed Pete to not have something stolen.
Oh, okay.
And I just had any of my other ones been stolen. I am so surprised that neither of you were eager to do Serpico or Donnie Brasco.
Well, Donnie Brasco was on my list, but I had so many on my list that it wasn't one that I ended up picking, but it was a backup. I also had Face Off, Narc, 21 Jump Street, The Fast and the Furious, Miss Congeniality, Snitch, and Kindergarten Cop.
21 Jump Street. I hadn't seen that. I just watched it a couple of weeks ago.
Oh my God.
You guys,
so funny.
Why have you not told me about that movie?
I'm sure we have.
I'm sure we have. And the
so you have.
And the
Both
sequel too. You watched the sequel.
I haven't watched the sequel yet. That's
what?
coming.
Oh,
No,
I haven't watched the
I'm
sequel.
What? Oh, we did that as a double feature as a family movie night because my kids were old enough, and I was like, you need to watch this. And okay.
He gets stabbed at the party. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Steve. Your backups.
Andy covered most of them except for my other Keanu of Point Break.
Yeah.
So yeah. And it's been so long since I've seen Serpico and Donnie Brasco. Think I've only seen Donnie Brasco once, and I don't remember that much about it. So,
what are we going to do this week?
What is it?
We are shifting over to our Jean Le Carré series, and we're starting with The Spy Who Came In From the Cold.
Okay.
There's a very non-James Bond sort of take on the spy movies.
Movies with spies, movies that are cold.
Movies where someone comes in from the cold.
Somebody is cold when there is a change in temperature. Movies where temperatures are changing from hot to cold. Nothing? You guys can't think of any?
It's not that I can't think of any. I'm just so taken, I guess one might say, by your choices.
Oh,
so
I'm just giving them pause.
Outstanding.
So it's Cold War era, right? So
yes.
Yeah, it is.
Okay. So
also has an incredible score. Movies with great scores. Like best spycraft movies, best non-James Bond spycraft movies.
I don't know. I've never seen this. I'm guessing Berlin Wall movies. I don't know.
Movies with walls.
I feel like we should do something that involves the Berlin Wall.
Okay, Berlin Wall
that
movies.
Seems like a good list topic. Yeah,
you got it.
Is it a key point in the story?
Sure. Oh yeah.
Okay. I don't know.
You got to see this movie.
All right.
This one's a good one.
It's a good one. Unlike the other ones Andy tells me to watch. Is that what you're saying? Forget that Border Patrol movie or whatever it was. Watch this one.
Okay, so we have Berlin Wall movies. We have, how about compelling interrogation movies? Something about interrogations.
Okay.
What?
Interrogation.
Okay.
Movies with interrogations.
Okay.
Or should we define it more? Like movies with, like, it can't just be like an interrogation. It needs to be something
it's got to be like some sort
big plot
of an investigate, like a police investigation interrogation, right?
Well, but
or
it's not
a
even
spy
a police interrogation. Yeah,
like an intelligence interrogation.
We'll just say important. Should we say important or just? Okay. We'll just say interrogations. We'll figure it out. Interrogations.
Okay.
Let's see. More, right? Communism, is that something? We've got people falling in love on opposite sides of kind of the political divide.
Love across the wall.
Oh,
is that what you're saying? The Love Across the Wall series.
There you go.
It's not even love. She's on the same side of the wall. She just
it's an ideological wall.
Okay,
it's an ideological wall.
Love across ideological walls.
Okay.
So how are you writing that?
That's how I'm writing it. Love across ideological walls.
Or do you say political Romeo and Juliet stories? Is that what you're saying?
Love across ideological walls. I'm sure Hart has written a song about that. We're going to be fine. We're all fine.
We're all fine here, I can tell you. So that will be for the Saturday, April 4th. That show will go live then. All right. There you go. I'll get that poll up in our Show Talk channel over in Discord. If you'd like to vote on that, you can become a Patreon member and you can jump into that particular channel to cast your vote. How would they become a Patreon member, Pete?
Well, they could visit patreon.com/thenextreel if they were so inclined. You're not doing anything else. If you're feeling strong, you should visit patreon.com/thenextreel and see what you can do to help support our motley crew as we continue to podcast through the pandemic storms. You can also get, if you are brave, you could order the I Am Patient Zero shirt, right, Steve?
Yes, they could do that at thenextreel.com/merch and wear your coronavirus patient zero shirt. It's not a coronavirus patient zero shirt. It's just patient zero. It's a biohazard shirt. It's, patient zero.
I also put a bunch of Marvel Movie Minute Season 2 stuff up there. All of that is available now.
All the hulky green Marvel Movie Minute stuff, yes, for Season 2.
If you're a fan of Joel Micah Harris's work, he's the guy who did our logo, and it's very charming. It's great what he did for it. And so you can get stickers and mugs and shirts and sweatshirts and all kinds. You can even get a pillow. I think the guys, I put it on a pillow, and I think the guy, Rob and Kyle bought pillows. They're big fleshy pillows with their faces cowering in fear. We call it the Ultimate Fear line of merch. So you can get it there too.
Thanks, everybody.
Have a good night.
Hondo.